fellow glue sniffers and sprue snippers, and welcome back to Blitzkrieg Model Works. I'm Bob, you know me as Darkland on the forums. How's it going, everybody? Sorry to take so long to get back to you all. I've just spent the last 3 weeks fighting a wonderful bout of the flu that no amount of rum seemed to eradicate. So, back to business. Since the Dragon Conqueror turned out to be such a disappointment, and oddly, there's no aftermarket stuff available for it. Fruil's bringing out a set of tracks, but so far that's it, which is kind of bizarre. I decided to go a little old school, dig through my stash, and find some other kits that I really wanted to do. And this is one of them. The old Dragon Panther II. A paper Panzer, totally prototypical. Well, not even prototypical, it was just a design that actually ended up getting canceled. Dragon first brought this kit out in '94. It was re-released in '09 as a white box. It is the exact same kit with the Schmalturm figures. Just some of the sprues are different colored. Instead of two color in this one, they are one color in the other. But at some point, Dragon had Shanghai Dragon. Now, I don't see any Shanghai Dragon stuff today, so I'm pretty sure that this was a brand Dragon had that quickly went by the wayside. And this one's still in the plastic, as you can see. $21 Canadian I paid for this back in 1998. So yes, I do have a few Panther II projects. Whoops, sorry for the camera movement. Not to mention a couple of Panther Fs in the works, including a really rare version, even though the Panther F, like the Panther II, never saw the light of day. The Panther F got a little bit further. They did do a Panther II hull. They did do Krupp did the turret. This is the Krupp design turret. But I actually have a Rheinmetall turret for a Panther F, but that's for a whole other video. So this one I'd actually collected quite a bit of goodies for before I packed her in 10 years ago. Lots of goodies. So I have a whole set of Aber Panther F and II photo etch. It's actually a pretty nice photo etch set. I won't be using it on this particular kit because I wanted to do an early and a late Panther II. So this will go on the early kit, and I've got a Voyager set coming for the late, which is what this one's going to be. The biggest difference between the two, I mean, they're both very, very good quality photo etch sets. The Voyager set actually has, for things like the hull, it has anti-aircraft armor for the rear deck and for the top of the turret. So I wanted to have that for this late model. We have, that shouldn't be in there, a set of Fruil tracks. This is how they used to come back in the 90s. These ones I'd actually burnished, not overly successfully. These are late Tiger II tracks, not the transport tracks. These are going to be the full width tracks is what I developed for this one. Eastern Russia, or sorry, Western Russia. Typical Dragon instructions, a little bit of blue, but not much. It's a very simple kit to throw together. I did a Panther F, one of their old Panther Fs, quite some time ago. It's long gone. I had it on display at a hobby shop that went out of business, and nobody seems to know whatever happened to them. I wrote a bunch of notes. Talk about that in a second. So this is the kit. Some of the parts have come off the sprues over time. But still, for a 90s kit, pretty decent. Posable suspension. You just hook your torsion bars like Tamiya does now with some of their kits into these studs so they all sit level, or you can shave them off and have an articulated suspension. This kit, unlike the Smart kit, the Panther F Smart kit that I showed you, which has been fixed, the old Dragon kits the Krupp turrets all suffered from the same problem. That when you, this is really, really tight for some reason. Get on there. Not that I'm going to use it, but there we go. The turret looks good until it's placed straight forward and back. You notice the edges, and this is the bottom of the turret. It looks good, but once you put the turret top off, the turret actually overhangs over the hull a few centimeters or a few millimeters on either side, and it shouldn't. It should actually be flush. So that was a common problem, and it was very, unless you wanted to totally scratch build the turret, it was very difficult to fix unless you got something like this. This is a Chesapeake design, CMD, Panther F Schmalturm. So this is a whole replacement turret. And pull the base out. And it's got a few other parts, but when you look at the base set, trying to line that up a bit, you can see the difference. Huge difference. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, I think they made this to go in the Tamiya kit instead of the, the Dragon kit. It doesn't actually fit. So there's going to be a little bit of surgery there. Nothing major. They give you a new matlet, they give you periscopes, give you lifting rings. Pull some of this stuff out for you without losing a bunch of it. So they give you some nice cast periscopes, and a nice new matlet that you put periscopes into, more periscopes, some lifting rings, just a little bit of web in there was fairly common. You can just take that out. Different hatches. The Panther II and at some point the Panther F were not supposed to have side hinged hatches. The hatches were supposed to kind of pop up and slide over, which I'm going to convert these to and use the provided hatches. New Commander's hatch, it was not the pop up and swivel type, it was just a simple hinge type to help lower costs. Really nice cast detail. An antenna base, rear hatch, and then these are the bulges for the sides of the turret. And what those were for was a rudimentary fire on the move optic system. And that's about it that comes in there. Now don't go rushing out looking for the Chesapeake Model Designs conversion. They are long out of business. You might find one on eBay every once in a while, something at a swap meet. They did a ton of stuff for Shermans, not a lot of stuff for World War or for German stuff. On a side note, if anybody ever comes across CMD, I believe it's number 27, it is the July 1945 King Tiger conversion. Some of you might be thinking, July 1945 King Tiger, the war ended in May. Exactly, there was a bunch of changes that were going to be made to the King Tiger had the war lasted until July, but it didn't. So they did do a conversion kit, and then within a few years they went out of business, and I've been trying to find one for a while. The kit itself, though, like I said, fairly decent for the 90s, considering basically you had Dragon with some molded on tool stowage, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That'll all be coming off, and I'm sure Voyager have a wicked photo etch kit for it. The big difference is you don't get Panther road wheels. The Panther II was meant to use King Tiger style suspension system. Again, commonality of parts to help keep costs down, get production up. You get a whole array of those parts, sponson fillets. And I said, for the 90s, they're not bad. I've compared these to the Tamiya King Tigers, and I don't have a Dragon King Tiger, but they seem actually pretty decent. And some of the parts have come off the sprues over the years, but we have the various hub assemblies, swing arms. Now in the white box re-release, all of these are kind of molded on to the ends of the runs here and there. For the Shanghai Dragon, I haven't opened it, so I'm not sure what the difference is. There's probably nothing. It's probably just a box difference. The other thing that I have for this model is a metal gun barrel. Now, I have no idea who actually made this. There's no packaging in the box. It's just a very nice turned metal gun barrel. No bolt detail here. I'll have to add that. I've already added the extension for the 2-piece 88 gun on here, and put it on the Panther F matlet. The F matlet just kind of ends right there if it was using the 75 mil. And like I said, I have no idea whose this is. It is not from anybody that currently makes it. Everyone that I've looked at, there is a noticeable step down in the muzzle to put on a muzzle brake. This one, I believe, was supposed to be for a YWWII Panther, but there's no muzzle brake. So like I said, I have no idea who made this. It might have actually been made for me. I cannot remember for the life of me where it came from, but it's actually a pretty nice barrel, other than it's missing the bolt detail here, which I'll have to add in myself. And that's it, other than trying to figure out what kind of figures I want to do and what type of time period I want to display it in. Whether it's, I might want to do it in spring with lots of muck and mud and goo. Winter would be nice, but like I said, I've got two others. One's going to be an early version, so it's going to have the Aber kit and none of the added doodads that would have been put on later on in the war. And then another one I'm going to do, and I noticed some of the guys were talking about this on the YouTube group. There was another paper Panzer design that the Germans had come up with called the Sturm Panther. The idea was it used the same gun that the Sturm Panzer had, and it was mounted into the Panther turret, or just a regular Panther G or A turret. And it was going to be, the idea was to use it for urban environments as kind of a bunker buster. The Sturm Panzer, while it was a fairly effective design for what it was, not having a turret really limited it in the beat up urban environments where you have a lot of wrecked buildings and fortifications and whatnot. So I'm going to start on this right away. I'll give a few updates here and there. I won't go too far past the suspension until I get the Voyager photo etch set. It's coming from the barrel store here in Canada, so hopefully I should get it in a week or so. So that's it for now. That's the only update. I'm going to try and keep it to one kit at a time, and try not to lose parts this time, unlike my Stug Life build. I still can't find my road wheels anywhere. I have no idea what I did with them. So until next time, guys, keep building. Talk to you later. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it.